3, 2, 1. Don't look at it. Here we go. Hi, this is Karla Courtney, and today we're going to talk about how you hide the loose ends that you get from when you cast off and when you cast on. In my last video we talked about casting off, and where I left you was with a long piece of string that now is just kind of hanging off your work, and you need a way to hide it or get rid of it. The most logical way, and a way that a method that many people use, which I do not advocate for, is just taking a pair of scissors and cutting it off. But guess what? If you do that, even if you've tied a really tight knot, what might happen is over time, if you're stretching or a kid's playing with your work, the knot could come undone, and then you haven't left yourself with enough string to retie it or to attach new string to tie a bigger, to make a longer string again. So you'll find that your work can unravel really easily if you cut it too closely just with a knot. So another method is taking the string and weaving it in to hide it, so that you can leave a longer piece of string attached to your work, so that if it doesn't come undone, you can re-knot it and hide it again. There might be a more fancy term for it. I just call it weaving the loose end into your work. So to illustrate this, if you're finished with this this little green scarf, you're obviously just going to have a green piece of wool done that you're going to be working with. But so I can show you guys how it works more clearly, I've attached a yellow piece. So you're just going to pretend that this yellow piece is the string that you've just cast off. So in order to do this, all you need is, this is called a yarn needle or a wool needle. Sometimes people even refer to it as a darning needle. What it really is it's just really big. It looks like a sewing needle. It's just really big. You'll see the eye is big enough that you could you thread it with a piece of wool or yarn, and then it's got quite a blunt end because you don't want to be poking into your wool with something too sharp. It's got a very blunt end. So just go into your craft store and ask for either a wool needle or a yarn needle, and they should be able to help you. And then you'll need a pair of scissors as well. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread my wool needle like that, just as if you were sewing. And then very close to the cast off point, I'll try to do this facing you a little bit too, but we'll go into a close-up soon, is you'll see the loop from a purl stitch. I'm going to loop it down through about 3 to 4 rows. Notice when you go through the other side, my needle is not going through. I'm not poking it through to the other side. I'm just gently going through purl stitch loops on one side of the work. And if you've knit in stocking stitch, that will work fine too. Just go through the purl side. This is garter, but it works fine with stocking stitch too. And see how I pull it through. I'm getting tangled with my other one, that's okay. And you'll see how the yellow wool is just kind of hiding behind those loops, but you don't really see it on the other side. And when you're using your same color wool, it'll be you won't notice that at all. So even when I stretch it out, you don't really see it. But you'll see it's hidden behind those. To secure it again, I'm going to do the same thing in a row parallel. I'm going to go up again 3 or 4. And you'll see it's kind of made a U. And I'll do that again. Maybe, you know, depending on how big my piece is. So for example, in some of the toys in my book, you'll knit a little ear, and I recommend weaving, and since you're only working with a small space, you may only be able to do this pattern twice. But since I've got space here, why not just secure it a bit more? I'll do this a couple times. And then once I've done it enough and I feel like it's secure, I will cut it closely, and then it's kind of in there. One tip which I forgot to mention at the beginning is before you begin this and after you finished your cast off, you may just want to tie a knot to secure it right at the base of the wool, and then begin your weaving pattern. And then, you know, you're giving yourself lots of extra wool to work with. So if a child's playing with it, or you're stretching it out because you want to tie it around something, the end of your wool is quite secure in there. So I think you can be confident that if it does actually come out of this weaved pattern, you'll have enough to retie it and then weave it again. So it'll help prevent your work from coming undone. It'll withstand a little bit more pressure. So that's how you weave in a loose end. If you have any questions, or if you have another method that you use, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And I'd love you to share your projects with me. You can use the hashtag #ICanCreate, because with knitting you can create. Thanks.